So today, Pawanvir from Hong Kong joins me. He's on the show today speaking about Hong Kong. He even grew up in India as well, which is quite an interesting story. Paul, I welcome you to the show.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. So could you start us off then with your early days playing football? As you said to me off camera, you were born in Hong Kong, but you did move to India.
Yeah, so I was born in Hong Kong, but then I went to live in India till I was quite young. So after I was 3-4 months old, I went back to India and lived with my grandparents. And funny enough, in India, I didn't play any football, literally zero. Because as you know, India is big on cricket. So I played a lot of cricket when I was young. Yeah, but then I came back to Hong Kong and then I realized cricket doesn't really have any future here. It's pretty non-existent. So when I came back to Hong Kong at the age of 10, and I started playing football at around 12 years old, when I was 12 years old, because during middle school, we used to have summer break, and just under my building, there's a five-side court. So I would just go down in the summer, play with all sorts of people, young, old, and then that's when I really started playing football at a serious note. But then I didn't really play any organized football till I was under 18, funnily enough.
Okay, so obviously going into five-a-side I've played five-a-side. It's quite intense. It's short. It's super not what you expect compared to 11-a-side. What was that like? As your first experiences at 12 years old?
I think that was a good way to start, because I think if I started 11-a-side, I wouldn't really enjoy it as much. Whereas five-a-side, so the five-a-side court where I live, there's walls around the court, so the ball never goes out of play. So the only time it goes out of play is if we kick it over the big fence around the court. So it was always quite intense, and that was I think what I even to now I enjoy that most. Like sometimes I go down and play down over there, because you can do 1-2 with the ball every time the ball's in play. I think it's much more fun than 11-a-side, to be honest. So when I started playing 11-a-side under 18s, I was a bit lost, because I was like, whoa, you can't really just dribble past everyone. You can't just do everything alone. You have to stay in your positions. So in the first year of under 18s, I really struggled. Like I was always on the bench because I was under 17. I didn't really know how to play on 11-a-side. But then when I moved into my second year as a proper under 18, I was playing every game. I was a captain. So it was a big contrast between the 2 years I experienced at under 18s.
Well, I suppose then you going from away from five-a-side, you moving to India, then coming back to Hong Kong. What is the main differences between the two countries for you personally, but also on the football stage, as you mentioned before?
Well, obviously, now football in India is much better. Like it's grown a lot. But back in the day, there was pretty much no football at all. Like no one played football. It was only cricket. And because I was from the north part of India, there they do play a lot of field hockey as well. So that was the second biggest sport there, but it was mainly cricket and field hockey. So football, I didn't even know it was a proper sport. I just only heard Ronaldo and Messi. That was the only two players I ever heard of. And then I came to Hong Kong, and then here it's more football and basketball. So that's when I really got the passion for playing football.
Well, obviously, geographically, Hong Kong's quite a small place, so I'm going to presume that it's quite easy to get around. And I spoke to Jay Haddo, who plays in the top tier, and he was saying exactly that the facilities are becoming a lot better now, but as one becomes better, they all sort of become better together.
Yeah, exactly. Jay obviously has played in UK as well. He played for Blackburn Rovers. So I think, even Jay's early career was in Hong Kong. So he played for a few clubs that I've coached against, because obviously I'm coaching as well. So I think he probably could give you a different perspective, because he played in the biggest academies in the youth, whereas I took the different path. I was playing for recreational, but I was like, I think I can make it one day. And so it was a very contrasting pathways.
Well, to be fair, it's quite something to say you're going to make it at 12 years old, because that is so late to get into the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell my kids when I coach. I'm like, guys, you're underrated. At this stage, I wasn't even playing. You guys are so much ahead of me. If I can make it, you guys can definitely make it.
For sure. So going into your first few clubs then, Sai Kung Youth, and as I said to you before, my pronunciation of teams is going to be very bad.
Yes.
So what was it like to go into these clubs, into this youth team? The first experience of, I'm presuming, your proper 11-a-side feel.
Yeah, so Sai Kung under 18 is where I properly played like under 11-a-side football. So Sai Kung was an average team. It varied from year to year. Some years they were okay. Some years they were quite poor. So the year I played in my second year as under 18s, we were quite decent. We beat quite a few big academies on the way. So that year we were quite decent. But the reason I would say I prefer to stay in a team like Sai Kung, which was mid to lower compared to other clubs. Like for Jay played in Kitchi in youth, and Kitchi is like the top tier. So when we played Kitchi, we lost like 7-0 in under 18s. But I prefer to stay in Sai Kung because I knew I was going to play every game. I was a captain. was like, I really need to, get the hang of this 11-a-side thing. It's much more different from 5-a-side. But it was always a struggle because obviously you say, oh, you're going to make it, but you're not playing in a very big team. If you come up against a big team, you're getting thrashed. So it's quite a humbling experience. But I think it taught us that even though you're not there yet, if you just keep working hard, you can get there. And that was all the belief I took every time.
And when you're going into these teams, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to be 11-a-side or 5-a-side?
Well, I would prefer 5-a-side, but actually now I would prefer 11-a-side because I'm quite used to playing the 11-a-side format. But back then I would have sent 5-a-side because we used to play 5-a-side tournaments as well. And in 5-a-side, even the Sai Kung team was really strong. But when it came to 11-a-side, it was a totally different story.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I play 5-a-side and I'm not very good technically, so I get shown up quite often. I suppose for you then, how would you describe yourself? Are you that technical player that suits 5-a-side?
Well, I'm a bit of both because I'm not the quickest, but I'm always one of the fittest in the team. So I can run nonstop because I'm fullback.
Yeah.
I run a lot, make a lot of overlaps, underlaps. But then I'm not the fastest, and neither I'm the biggest. So I'm stuck right in between. Like I'm technical, quite technical, but then I didn't start playing since I was quite young. So I can't say I'm the most technical. So I'm right in the middle right there.
Well, to be fair, then I maybe still have a route into the professional game because I started playing at 12 years old as well. So you never ever know.
You need to come down here to Hong Kong, have a go.
I think I do and get back on the 5-a-side pitch. So you played for All Black in 2018. What was that like? Was that your first, like, obviously you were at the youth academy, but now this is your men's game, right? This is your first introduction into that.
Yes, so All Blacks, they were a really strong team, but they weren't part of any league. So the person who started it, his name is Medard, and he started this team mostly for the African refugees because there were quite a few refugees in Hong Kong, and they started in 2017, 2018. So what we did was All Black, they used to train like a professional team, so say train 3 to 4 times a week, but they didn't play in any league, but they organized a lot of friendlies against these professional clubs. So back in the day, we played against Happy Valley. There was a team called Pegasus Sun International, these kind of teams, and we beat them, although they were a professional team and we weren't. But yeah, that was, I think that experience really helped me a lot because in under 18, I wasn't the most physical player. I wouldn't get stuck in. I was scared to go 50-50s, but when I started playing in All Blacks, I played against these bigger players. I just got that bit of edge. Like I was like, I want to get stuck in. I want to show these guys that although they're bigger than me, they can't just have me as a pushover. So I think that was a big turning point because funnily enough, before All Black, I went to a Division 3 team, which is the lowest tier in Hong Kong football. So there's Premier League, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. And that was a weak Division 3 team. I didn't make it. I got rejected. And I remember that night, I think we finished at 11 p.m. the trial. I was walking home crying. I'm like, I can't even make a D3 team. What am I doing? I need to find a purpose in life. But then I went to All Black and everything just changed. Because the biggest problem I had was I wasn't confident. I was scared to get stuck in. But when I went to All Black, I really started believing in myself.
And this is the reason why I do this, because even a story like that is actually pretty inspirational to hear someone in Hong Kong that wants to be professional, hasn't quite made it, but all of a sudden goes and does it in the following move, which you mentioned to Happy Valley. But before we talk about Happy Valley, you are in the first division as well. So could you talk to us about the leagues? And you just mentioned a few there, but what is the main difference? Is there a big class in the gap?
So I would say you can classify into 2 tiers. So Hong Kong Premier League and Division 1, they're decent level competition. And then Division 2 and Division 3, you see a bigger drop. So Premier League is obviously the highest level. They train 5 to 6 times a week. Most of them are professional. The bottom 2 teams, they're semi-pro like HKFC. And then when you go to Division 1, actually, when I played in Division 1 last year, the talent pool is just as good as Premier League. And some of them make more money than they would make in the Premier League. But the thing is, they train only twice a week. And yeah, I think that's the main difference. And the intensity drops a bit because obviously they play on artificial pitches, and even the kickoff times are terrible because on Sundays we used to play at 1:30 p.m., 3:30 p.m., and the weather's like 32 degrees. So you can't play at a high intensity in this kind of weather. But then when you go to Division 2 and Division 3, the game slows down a lot. The fitness of the people is much lower. The technical ability drops a lot. But I say Division 1 and Premier League, I would classify as decent competitions. But then D2 and D3, you try to see a big drop.
And what's the facilities like? Because I heard that Hong Kong has decent facilities.
Yes, so I would say in facilities quite good because, for example, I told you there's a 5-side court just under my home, 2 minutes walk. and the place I coach at, HKFA Football Training Center. So that's like the main center of where national team trains, a lot of big clubs train, and that's where we're a coach, and it's only a 10-minute bike ride on a bicycle from me. And in the vicinity, there's at least 2 to 3 more Astro pitches, just 10 minutes away from me. So there's plenty of pitches, like a lot of pitches. I think the ratio of pitches to the number of people is quite good.
That's good to hear, because in England, I think it's good, but I've got to walk quite far to get to a good pitch. But obviously, we're still quite privileged because there is some places around the world that definitely don't have that.
Exactly,
Happy Valley came up next in the first division, so that would have been the second tier. But you didn't really get going there, from what I can understand.
Yes. So in Happy Valley, I started well. I started the first 2 games, but I struggled again with the thing of confidence because it was the first time I was playing in Division 1, and there was always a little bit of self-doubt. I was like, am I good enough for this level? Am I not good enough for this level? So in the first season, it was quite ups and down. I started, didn't play 2-3 games. Then I came on as a sub, and that went on. But then what happened was, I think, I'm trying to think, when did I get injured? Oh, yeah. So in my first season in December, I got injured. I broke some ligaments in my ankle at my university team trainings. So I was actually out for 3-4 months. And that's why in the first season, I didn't play many games for Happy Valley. And by the time I came back, the season was pretty much over.
So how did you actually get the move into the second tier? Because it is quite something we haven't really spoken about. You just mentioned university. So how did you get this jump over to then a professional step?
So after All Black, I was actually invited to train with KC Southern. That's a Premier League team in the Hong Kong Premier League. So I was there as a training player. Whenever the coach needed a player, he would just drop me a text, and then I would go there, train in the morning, because that squad had quite a few low numbers. So they had a squad of 18, 19. So whenever they need to play 11 aside, they don't even have enough players. So they would bring in 3-4 players who thought they could help out. So I would go there, and then that really helped me get the self-belief back. I'm like, this is Premier League. It's not that big of a jump. And then in the summer of that season, I was gonna play for a Division 2 club. It was called what was it called? I'm trying to remember. Kwangwa. So that was a Division 2 club, and the coach there, actually, he got the move to Happy Valley. So during the summer, he was coaching us, just doing trials games, and then he was invited to coach to Happy Valley. And that then he reached out to me, hey, can you come over here instead? Don't play Division 2. Come and play in the Division 1 team instead. So that's why I got the move. I was going to play Division 2, but then the coach who was going to coach there moved up, and then he called me to play there.
So obviously in Hong Kong, there's quite a lot of players that will eventually move around to China, to Japan, Europe, anywhere in the world. So am I right in saying that Hong Kong is a great place to go to get connections within football?
Yeah, I would say so, especially because now there's a lot of football opening around. So there's opportunities in China, even there's opportunities in Macau, and even the smaller leagues in Asia like Laos, Cambodia, Mongolia. There's also opportunities. So I think Hong Kong is a great place to get started because the number of teams are increasing. So for instance, in Division 1, last year we had 13 teams, and this season we're going to have 16 teams. And the same goes for Division 2 and Division 3. There's more teams that enrolled. So the numbers of teams have gone up in each tier this year.
And what about the support? Is that going up in Hong Kong?
Yeah, definitely. I think in Premier League for sure. And even the lower divisions, I think I see more and more clubs taking it very seriously now. So definitely it's a big change from when I started back in the day.
2023, I believe you ended your time at Happy Valley. How did that come to an end?
So basically, I ended it because I just didn't feel the environment was good for me. So I actually left the club midway through the season. So I left in roughly January when the January transfer window opens. And because I would go on Sundays, I felt like I wasn't playing as much as I deserved because the experienced players got to play more. And the other thing was, although I was a young player, so I was 23, 24 at the time, at that moment in Division 1, there was a rule that you must have at least 3 under 22 players. So when it came to the younger players, the under 22 players would play. But then when it came to the other 8 on the field, it'll be the experienced ones, say who have played in Premier League, they're 32, 33. So I was stuck right in the middle. So I wasn't getting time as an experienced player because I wasn't one. Then I wasn't a U22 player. And then I think I decided that rather than just sticking around, I need to look for different opportunities.
And then how did you get the opportunity to Wong Tai Sin?
Wong Tai Sin, so just open trial. They had open trial in the summer, and I went and I just continue, and they signed me right there.
And when you're signing for these clubs, what is it actually like? Do you get toured around the facilities? Do you meet the fans on the way? Is there fans outside the ground?
Well, in Division One, it varies. There aren't many fans, even in Premier League. To be honest, the fans I wouldn't say are great, because I played a football club that was at least they had some fans, but even there, the fanfare wasn't great, which is quite funny because Hong Kong people love football, but they support more of the international teams, say Liverpool, Barca, these kind of teams. But when it comes to local football, there as many as isn't many fans, to be honest.
And what was it like to be at your new club?
So it was a good change because I finally started playing more. I got the confidence back, so I felt like it was a good move for me because I played more over there. I played in the Junior FA Cup. I got much more game time, and yeah, I think that's where I got my first assist as well. So I think that was a good move for me personally.
So you were playing with the men's team, but you also got to feature in the junior side as well in the FA Cup, as you mentioned.
No, so Junior FA Cup is basically Division 1 to Division 3 clubs, and the main FA Cup is the Premier League sides. Yeah.
So it's just the Premier League. Okay, that has to change, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because as you see in England, it's all the tiers. But in Hong
Yeah.
Kong, Premier League has their FA Cup, and then it's Division 1 to Division 3 that has their own FA Cup.
Well, to be fair, there shouldn't be too much of a travelling because Hong Kong's not the biggest of countries,
Oh
so there
no,
shouldn't be any
no.
finances.
Yeah. I don't know the logic behind it. Maybe they just think the disparity is too big. For example, a Division 3 team would get better like 20-0 by a Premier League side. But I mean, that's kind of the fun of it, you know. So yeah.
And what about? I think there's a rule in Hong Kong. Do correct me though, where foreigners, there has to be a maximum amount of foreigners in your team. Is that correct?
Yes. So Division 3, Division 2, no foreigners allowed. Division 1, 3 foreigners, and in Premier League, I'm not sure of exact numbers. You can sign as many as you want, but you can have like 4 on the pitch, 1 on bench, something like this.
And do you think that's fair? Because I know that obviously Hong Kong isn't renowned on the world stage for having the greatest players compared to England, compared to Brazil. But obviously there is going to still be some local pool there as well.
Yeah, so I think Division 1, the 3-player rule is quite good because usually those 3 players play every game, but then there's also 8 spots for the local players. And even in the Premier League, because it's max 5, I think, on the pitch, they're forced to play the local players as well. And these foreigners are definitely helping raise the standard. So I think that's a good thing.
But to be fair, though, I understand both sides because I always feel that you still have to show the local talent, right? Because I know in Hong Kong there is definitely room for that local talent to improve because they're already at a decent level.
Yeah, and then in this case, like the locals have to fight and show that hey, we're just as good as a foreigner. So I think if you're good enough, you can take the foreign spot. So
it keeps it competitive, right? Okay,
exactly.
So
yeah.
24-25 came up. You did sign for 2 clubs in that season. Hong Kong FC came up first. Why did you decide to leave the other club? Was it just to get this game time back in the door?
So you mean Wong Tai Sin to Football Club? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So Wong Tai Sin, they got demoted to Division 2, and the thing was, on the last day, it looked like we we're gonna stay up until the last few minutes when another team scored quite a few goals on the other pitch, and then we were forced to go down. So I thought, I need to get moving, and then one of the coaches that I knew quite well, Chansey Cook, he took over Football Club, and then he invited me to go over there, and that's how Football Club started.
And what was it like to be part of a team that got relegated after the game, after the full-time whistle? Because as you mentioned, it was out your control.
Yeah, it was a new experience because I had never been part of this kind of situation, and it looked like we might stay up. But I think everyone just felt that during the season we had opportunities to make sure that we'll be definitely safe, and in just the key moments the team couldn't perform, and ultimately they could see it coming in the end. Yeah.
So it's just a case of looking back at the season and thinking we should have done better there. But it builds on you, right? You are going to get better at those situations as you progress in careers.
Yeah. Because even in the final game we were up 1-0, and if we just kept it that way, we could have stayed up. But then I think we conceded 2 goals late, and that's how they ended up going down.
And what's it like to be in that environment pre-game? So before you're playing this game, what is the mood like? Are you expecting to win, or is it we are going to go down?
Well, the team we were playing, Kowloon City, they won Division 1 that year. So we knew it was going to be a tough task. But funnily enough, we were up 1-0. We were the better team on the day. But I think just the experience of the opposition, the confidence, they knew they're a top team. I think that ultimately was proved to be the difference. But pre-game, I wouldn't say there was as much pressure as you would expect, because as you see in England, it's much more on the line. People's livelihood, the wages, everything. But in Division One, that's not the main income for most of the people, and that's one thing I would say is frustrating, because even though we are younger players, we're not as experienced. We want to get up to a higher level. We really want to play every game to the high standard possible. But you can't say the same for everyone, because for some people, it's just a hobby, you know.
And in Hong Kong SC, was that the same? Was the hobbies, or was it an actual job for these guys?
So I would say I would classify it as semi-pro, because we were definitely training as a professional team. We would train 5 days a week. Uh, we had SNC. We had proper top facilities at football club. So I think that was a big jump, and that's the first time I really experienced the professional environment.
Did you enjoy your time there?
I would say yes, because I had a good preseason. I started in the first preseason game, although in the end I couldn't find a spot in the team. But I felt like that's one experience I needed, and it really definitely taught me a lot.
And then I believe you transferred to the top tier, right?
No, so football club was the top tier.
Okay, yeah. And what was that like?
Yes, and that was good. But I played a few friendly games against Premier League sides. I learned a lot, and just being in the training environment every day, it was something new. Because obviously you wanna play professional everything, but to experience it, it was quite eye opening, because it was quite tough in the heat of Hong Kong. And then I was still coaching, so I would go training in the morning. I would coach 3 hours in the afternoon. I was like, oof, this is quite intense.
So that was just a muddle up of my notes there. So then after the second half of the season, you left the first division, or the Premier Division. I will call it the first division because it's all confusing.
Yeah, just the first second, yeah.
Yeah. And what was that like to leave? Did you want to leave, or were you just trying to settle in and try and
No,
get game plans in the top 10?
yeah, I actually didn't want to leave, but then the coach was honest with me. He said, "Yeah, we don't see you in our plans. I think it'll be better if you just try to look for another club." So obviously it sucks at the moment, because you worked so hard, and I felt like I deserved more opportunities, because I was one of the fittest in the team. I felt like just if given some more time, I could make an impact. But then coaches, they have to make decisions, so I respect that as well. So yeah, it was a mutual decision that it's probably best I leave.
And you found yourself in the second tier, the first division. Once again, are you getting a bit bored of the second division now? Do you really want to push on and make it into the Premier?
Yes, I would definitely say so. But then I think this move to RCFC was quite good for me, because I was playing in a team that was quite competitive. So, for instance, football club, they finished bottom of Hong Kong Premier League. So, although it was higher level, they weren't really doing really well in the games. We would lose most of the games. But when I came to RCFC, we were expected to win games. So that was a quite a different contrast experience.
And what was the coaches like there, the players? Were you around a more professional environment compared to the side that got relegated?
You mean in football club? Is
Yes,
it
yeah.
HKFC? Yes, yes. So there were quite a few players who had played in the national team. Some of them had played in China Super League. So it was quite a good experience to observe them in training, see how they act, their mannerisms, their professionalism, to learn from them, because those guys were nearing the end of their career. They were like 35, 36. Although I was just starting my career, so I think it was a good thing to see like what really separates the top professionals from the struggling semi-pro players. Yeah.
So you do coaching on the side as well. Is that just to constantly be around football and obviously to have that as an income as well?
Yes, because in Hong Kong, to be honest, football doesn't really pay your bills. Like even a professional club, you can't really make that much, especially as a local player, unless you're playing top teams like Kitchi, Lehman. Who else is quite decent recently? KC Southern have decent wages. Eastern FC, but besides that, mid-table to low-table in Hong Kong Premier League, the wages aren't great. So you always have to have another source of income. And for me, since I was playing in Division One, coaching was my full-time job. That's where I generated all the income, and I could also continue pursuing football on the side.
And how high level is the coaching? Because obviously in England and in Europe, we have like UEFA badges. And what's it like in Asia?
Yes, I would say it's quite similar. So the academy I coach at, so it's quite a competitive academy. So so as I told you, I told you, Kitchis, the Lehmans, and these teams. So our academy, usually we actually get the better of them. So we are a very strong academy now. So yeah, and even all our coaches they got UEFA badges, AFC badges. So I think it's quite good. Yeah, the academy I coach at.
And once you finish your game in football, obviously, hopefully a while away, but do you want to get into coaching as a full-time thing?
I'm not sure at the moment because currently I'm really enjoying it. But you never know what's going to happen 10 years down the line. Because personally, for me, I don't really enjoy coaching the senior level. Like everyone wants to coach the professional teams, they want to coach the biggest clubs. But for me, I enjoy really coaching the youth. So say the 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, because I feel like you can make a bigger impact. You can see the change a lot more quicker in them. So I'll have to wait and see like how it looks like when I'm done with football.
And obviously the season ended a couple of weeks ago, and it's all going to start back up very, very soon.
Mhm.
You're without a club right now, right? So what is going on behind the scenes? Has anyone been touting around for you?
So basically, RCFC, they're making quite a few changes in the club and the squad this year. So I talked to the coach. He said like there's gonna be 3-4 fullbacks again. So I thought it's probably best to look for another team because I think it gets quite tiring to just jump club to club and not play as much. So I think this season I'm looking to play a lot more. So currently I'm training with a team in Division One that got promoted from Division Two, and then I'm also training with a team in Division Two, which actually wants to get up to Division One, and I'm leaning towards maybe playing for a Division Two team because although technically it's the third tier of football because Premier League, Division One, Division Two, that team is quite professional. It's full of players who played in national team before. Most of them played in Premier League and Division One. So it's you have to see the balance of two things. Do you want to play in Division One and play in a weaker team, or you want to play in a Division Two team that's potentially going to win the league and get promoted next year? So that's where I'm at currently.
And the last thing from me would be, would you ever consider leaving Hong Kong and perhaps going elsewhere? And where's the furthest you would ever go?
Yeah, so I was considering it in the summer this year because there were few opportunities in Mongolia and Laos. But the problem ends up being is when you go to these smaller leagues, the money is quite bad. It's quite poor, and you really have to consider like, is it worth sacrificing all the opportunities and the life you made in Hong Kong to go all the way there for little money, and the level you never know isn't going to be that much better either. So I think for me personally, I want to make a mark in Hong Kong. I want to play more in Division One, play properly in Hong Kong Premier League, and then I want to make a decent move overseas.
Well, Paul Bennett, I really appreciate you joining me today. I wish you all the best in Hong Kong and beyond. And thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jamie. Have a good day. See you.